there, I'm Deborah Charnes of the Namaste Council and the Namaste Getaway. And the last two videos that I did talked about different stereotypes with yoga. One was yoga for older adults, and the other one was yoga for men, because unfortunately our society in the United States in particular has a stereotype of yogis, and we think of them as being female, and we think of them as being young, and we think of them as having particular body types. And when I spoke about the older adults, it was easy for me to talk about it. When I spoke about men, it was easy for me to talk about it. But body types is something that is a little bit tougher for me to talk about because it is more emotional for me, because I have always had a problem with my body type. My father was a football player and a football coach, and I always felt, and I still believe, that I inherited my father's body type. So I was always one of the tallest kids in school, and I was also always one of the biggest kids in school, and I've always had a problem with weight. So I never felt that I had the type of body for a yogi. And it was when I was at one of the ashrams, when I was actually leaving. I was there for a couple of weeks, and as I was leaving, the person that was driving me to the bus stop, it was an older man, and when I say older, I don't know, maybe in his 60s, and he said something to me about, "Are you going to be taking the teacher training next session?" And I thought, how could anybody ask me? I was already over 50, and I never had what I thought was the appropriate body type. I've never been athletic. I had never been what I thought was coordinated, and again, I always had an issue with weight. And when he said that, it was the first time that anybody had kind of talked to me as if my body size or my body shape did not matter. And I was over 50 years old. And that's pretty sad, that how our society is, how we look at people and we look at their bodies and we label them. So because of that, I did decide to become a yoga teacher. And I'm so glad that I did. But I wanted to talk about body type because unfortunately, I have so many times heard people criticize their body type, and they don't think that they have the proper body for a certain kind of a sport. We're even told that there are certain body types for running, or there are certain body types for basketball, or for football, or for wrestling. And I think those are also very insensitive comments as well. Just because somebody is tall, for example, does not mean that they should be a basketball player. So the thing about yoga is, of course, yoga is for everyone, regardless of their sex, regardless of their age, and regardless of their body type. So absolutely everyone can and should do yoga. What I wanted to talk about today is looking at the body type from a yoga therapist perspective, because I am a certified yoga therapist, which is very different from a yoga instructor. And as a yoga instructor, I don't want to say anything bad about a yoga instructor because I am a yoga instructor, but when we are teaching a class of 30 or 40 students, we cannot work with the individual as much. So, for example, when I have pregnant women in my group classes, I really do not want my pregnant women in my group classes because I want to give them the special attention that they deserve. There are many things that a pregnant woman should not be doing in yoga. And I don't want to be teaching for a class of 40 and then this one pregnant woman is doing all these things that she cannot do. So that's where one reason where yoga therapy is much better, because everything is individualized to the specific person and customized for them. But also, as a yoga therapist, what we do is we look at your constitution. And as part of the constitution, the body type, the body shape is part of the constitution. It is not the end all of it, but it is, it can give you clues. And so there are certain types of body shapes, and depending on that body shape and the constitution, different types of yoga are better. And I will not get into the specifics here because that's what a certified yoga therapist is for, to meet with the client and to analyze and assess. My assessments are 90 to 120 minutes before I say, oh, you're this type. But just as an example, there are some types of people, and if I know them well, I don't have to do an assessment. I just know what they are. And I will say, I know that Bikram or hot yoga is really good for, let's just say, for John. And at the same time, Bikram or hot yoga can be very detrimental or contraindicated for, let's say, Mary, depending on the individual constitution of the person. And the constitution changes. So I may have been born with one constitution, but seasonally I change that constitution. So likewise, my personal yoga practice may be the same thing every single day, but when the seasons change, I modify what my practice is. So that's where I think it's beautiful, the idea of how yoga is for everybody, but prescriptively, we can look at the body type and say, if this is your body type, and if this is winter or summer, or if this is rainy season, then this is a better type of yoga for you to practice for now. And yoga can be complicated for those who are not familiar with it. They will say, oh, what kind of yoga do you teach? Well, I teach everything. But again, I try to tailor the yoga for the particular person. And that doesn't mean that if somebody is morbidly obese, that I'm going to have them do one thing or another because of their body mass. I will have them modify so that they will be more comfortable. But there are specific things that I will do with them that are beneficial for them because of their constitution, and their body type may be a manifestation of that. So if this is not clear to you, please check out my website, the Namaste Council, and I have lots of blogs that explain the yoga constitutions. I'm sorry, not yoga, the Ayurvedic constitutions. They are called doshas, D-O-S-H-A-S. And check out my Instagram page for more information, and also my Facebook pages for more information. And of course, comment and reach out to me if you want a private assessment or a private suggestion as to what yoga may be right for you. Because again, yoga is appropriate for absolutely everyone. It just depends what kind of yoga. And the yoga is not even always physical. So there are so many different types of yoga. From my heart to yours, thank you for joining. Please subscribe and check out my other videos. From my heart to yours, namaste.